Hi everybody. Today we're going to talk about Purva Bhadrapada Nakshatra. This nakshatra goes from 20 degrees in Aquarius until 3 degrees and 20 minutes in the Pisces sign. This ruling planet is Jupiter or Guru. The deity is Aja Ekapada. The symbol for this nakshatra is the front part of a funeral bed. The translation of Purva Bhadrapada means lucky feet. The gender of this nakshatra is male. Its guna is sattvic. Its nature is fierce or severe. The element for this nakshatra is ether. Its caste is Brahmin. And the animal for this nakshatra is a male lion. This nakshatra, again, is extremely powerful. And that is just with the element itself. It just shows the mystic side of this nakshatra, being that it's an ether sign. Also, the animal in this nakshatra shows the power of it as well. Purva Bhadrapada Nakshatra it has a lot of Jupiter qualities. And these people, they get their gifts very early on in life. And they understand their gifts early in life. These people, they have a lot of patience, a lot of purity, a lot of perseverance. They're very resilient. These people, they are the types of people who they are empathetic, but they're empathetic towards people who really need it. Sometimes people, they're just looking for a handout, or they just want to nag or, drag people down. But when somebody really needs help, these people are the first ones to step up and offer a hand. These people are definitely not orthodox. They're very idealistic. They're the types of people who believe that reality is mental in nature. Like reality is consciousness. These people, they like to, use their mind a lot. And they're really good with like meditation and I think even that one, I don't know if he's a theosophical teacher, Krishnamurti, he had a prominent Purva Bhadrapada in his chart. So if you kind of look at his personality, you can find you know, a lot of the qualities that this nakshatra has. Even though he was like really soft-spoken, you could just tell that so much power in the words that he said. And a lot of it, you had to really think about what he was saying, because there was so much meaning like behind the words, and there was just so much deep meaning in his eyes. Like even he was saying something, you know, that just sounds normal, but the way that he looked, the look behind his eyes, you could just see like the power of what he was saying and the power behind the meaning. These people are very into the mental realm of things. And the ruling deity of this nakshatra also shows a lot of the power within it. The Aja Ekapada, he is known to be one of the Rudras of Shiva. He's written in the Rig Veda and the Atharva Veda. So like basically the way that he looks is a one-legged deity, and this one leg, and I don't know if this is exactly right, but this one leg is supposed to be like the pendulum from the heavens to the earth. And so I mean that just shows like how much a lot of ancient power is in this nakshatra. And it says in the verse of the Veda, it says, thereupon resides Aja Ekapada. He with his might has established the earth and the heaven. And then in the Veda, in the scriptures before that, like a few of the sentences before that, it's talking about the creation of the earth. And then right after this verse that I just read, they start talking about the ether element. So it's a really powerful nakshatra. It's a really powerful ruler of this nakshatra, and it just, all the elements and symbols of this nakshatra really fit in with it. There's a lot of ancient essence in this nakshatra, and it's very powerful in that aspect. People with Purva Bhadrapada, as I said, they're highly inclined towards occult practices or like supernatural things. Some of these natives, they have supernatural powers. Like they can tell when someone's genuinely, needing something. These people have really good manners, and they're disciplined, they're sincere. Usually they're really good speakers, but sometimes, depending on the planet that has this nakshatra, that it instead of being a good speaker, it might be a good writer, or it might even be they used to be a good speaker, depending on the planet that has this nakshatra. But these are mostly for people that have the moon in this nakshatra. the females with this nakshatra, they also like to follow principles, and they're really similar to the male nakshatras. There's really not that much of a difference, as with the other nakshatras that I've discussed. Usually the male and female, they're quite different, but this nakshatra and and Mula's nakshatra had, the male and female had a lot in common, but there were some differences in that, especially like with the male being able to, really succeed at working, and but with this nakshatra, there's not really any difference between the characteristics between the male and female. So that always makes things easier. These people, if they practice yoga, they're going to, their life will completely turn around. Yoga is really good for these people. And when I talk about yoga, I'm talking about all the branches of yoga. So, not just different asanas, the pranayama, learning to meditate, all the different branches. These people are the types of people who would love, the concept of I can't think of the word. They love idealism. Anything to do with consciousness. They would really get into those realms, or anything like occult, anything that's not your traditional orthodox, church going or going to the temple and just your standard pujas. These people, they're into some really deep ritualistic type of tantric things, or something that is ancient, like an ancient yagya. These people would be great at stuff like Vedanta. As a matter of fact, I highly suggest, if you have this nakshatra, to dig into that. You will really enjoy it. And it'll probably, if you haven't already got into Vedanta, it'll probably change your life for the good. Let's see, what else? These guys, even though they're really well mannered and everything, they would probably really enjoy going to something, maybe instead of going to an opera, which a lot of Purva Bhadrapadas would probably love an opera, depending on what the opera was about. But they would love to go to a heavy metal concert too. And let's see. And to be honest with you, I've heard a lot of people say that this nakshatra is it's a two-faced person. I with this nakshatra, when it's talking about two-faced, it's talking about not somebody who is a criminal on one hand and good on the other one. No, it's talking about when you go from beginning to the end, not two-faced in the sense. I've heard a lot of people use that, and I think it's just kind of like propaganda. Somebody heard it here, so they're like, oh, it's true, and then they heard it, and then before you know it, 10 people are saying what other people said, and so it just seems like it sounds good, but in reality, that's not what this means at all. This nakshatra is very, I believe it's been given a bad name. So that's, and that's particularly why I wanted to do these videos, because I want to make sure that we're bringing out all the aspects of the nakshatras, rather than just hearing the same thing said by a different person. But this nakshatra, you might find you know, a lot of, you know, black magic people in this too. Even white magicians too. You know how they have those Wicca groups, and you know, they're really into that kind of stuff. So anything that is like mystical, idealistic, they're gonna really love that stuff. Stuff where you use the mind. You know, these people, if Ashlesha Nakshatra wasn't so, you know, like detached, and when I say detached, I don't mean it like in a bad way, but the nakshatra doesn't really, they don't like to be fenced in that much. If that nakshatra was like, if they became like a little bit, I don't want to say needy, but if they became more emotionally connected, these two would get along perfect together. They could like both hypnotize each other like in a different way, and they would have a great time together. So if you are an Ashlesha or a Purva Bhadrapada, think about that. Maybe try something new. Maybe it'll make your relationship blossom. I think those guys would get along great together. Let's see, what else? What else can we say? Let's move to the compatibility. With this nakshatra, of course, you're going to get along with other Brihaspati, other Jupiter nakshatras. So that means Purnavasu, other Purva Bhadrapadas, Vishaka. You're going to get along with Mangala or Mars. So that's your Chitra, Dhanishta, Mrigashira. You're going to get along with Chandra and Surya. So that's Uttarashada, Uttarfalguni, Hasta, Kritika, Rohini, Shravana. Things are going to start to go neutral with Shani. So that means Anuradha, Uttara Bhadrapada, and Pushya. And things will go uneasy with Rahu and Ketu, surprisingly. Anuradha, Magha, Ashwini, Swati, Shatabishta, and Mula. And the most challenging is going to be the nakshatras with Buddha and or Mercury and Shukra. And this is just according to who's ruling. It's not the constellation, like where it is. Although I do think that should be taken into consideration as well. But it's not talking about the constellation, it's talking about the lord of the nakshatra. The planet ruler, the planet lord of the nakshatra. So the most challenging again is Shukra or Venus and Buddha or Mercury. So that's your Jeshta, Purva Falguni, Bharini, Ashlesha, Revati, and Purva Ashada. And I want to thank you, and I hope that you enjoyed this lesson as much as I did. Have a great night.